guys, it's MB Boxing, and I just finished up watching Kubrat Pulev versus Mahmoud Charr, and this was a 12-rounder for the WBA regular heavyweight world championship, and this fight was Saturday, December 7th, from Sofia, Bulgaria, Kubrat Pulev's home country and city. And this fight was broadcasted on DAZN. And in this fight, Kubrat Pulev was able to finally become a world champion of some sorts, as he was able to defeat Mahmoud Charr, who was holding this belt hostage for years. He defeated him via unanimous decision. I scored this bout a shutout. I mean, I really thought it was. It was a kind of entertaining fight, I would say. But, yeah, I had it 120 to 108 for Pulev. I just didn't really think Charr did enough at all in this fight. And, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying this was an excellent performance by Pulev or anything, but, I mean, he did what he had to do, got the job done, and, yeah, won this fight via UD. The judges had this one 117-111 twice, and then 116-112 once, which is kind of close in my opinion. But I'm not really even going to get that too in-depth with each round by round, like how I scored it, because, like, I felt like so many of these rounds were the same. Just really throughout this fight, it was Pulev just using his more slick skills. Charr is a much more rudimentary type fighter. Pulev was just out there sticking out a lot of jabs on Charr. Like, every round is very similar. Pulev would just be jabbing, really just jabbing Charr like a bobblehead, knocking his head back and forth. And he was just jabbing him pretty well, just taking advantage of kind of the plottiness of Charr. I don't even know if that's a word, but I mean, Charr was just plodding around in the ring. And, yeah, I mean, really throughout, he would just out-jab him. And then he would fire off some of those big right hands. And really throughout this fight, Pulev was able to go through those sequences where he'd throw multiple right hands in a row. And Charr would just take those shots. He didn't really look hurt throughout this fight at all. And Charr, I mean, showed he had somewhat of a decent chin, even though he's 40 years old. And Pulev's 43, which is interesting as well. The fact that this fight even happened for a title of any sort. But, yeah, really throughout, Charr was getting hit with some of those big right hands from Pulev, those chopping right hands, getting out-jabbed. But occasionally, every so now and then, at the end of almost every round, Charr would go in there and just have some sort of bursts of offense. He would go in there, throw like 3 or 4 body shots in a row. That would land on Pulev, but it just wasn't enough. And he was trying to land that uppercut all night. I mean, it just wasn't really landing. And Pulev was really just outworking him, in my opinion, landing the better shots, looked much more technical. And yeah, that's why I thought he won this fight. So this goes into question, what is next for Kubrat Pulev? He is now the WBA regular champion. It's just really weird. When you take a look at the WBA rankings, you see Tyson Fury number 2, Martin Bakole number 1, Michael Hunter number 3, Lanier Pero number 4. I mean, just out of those top 4, those are usually the guys that get the shot. I mean, I don't think it's obviously going to be Fury or Bakole because they're worried about their big, real top heavyweight fights. But who knows? Michael Hunter, he's been snooping around for a fight. He hasn't been as active in fighting top guys recently. I mean, we could possibly see that. Or we could possibly see Pulev against someone on a Riyadh season card, being that he has this title now. Or, I mean, Lanier Pero, we see is number 4. I mean, I'm not really too sure if that could be made next, if there have to be an eliminator of some sort. But, I mean, Pulev, even though he's 43, he just picked up a title, so I think he'll definitely defend it like 1 or 2 times, possibly before like retirement soon. But as for Mahmoud Charr, I mean, it could be retirement on the table for him because I really think the only thing keeping him active was this title. He won this title first in 2017 against Alexander Ustinov, and he held it hostage for 7 years, basically. It was just a whole thing with this WBA regular title. I mean, it really was. Yeah, won in 2017. Held on to it without being stripped or anything until like 2021 when he was like, I think he was like named champion in recess or some BS term just to keep him this title. I don't know if his people are paying the WBA or something, but or were paying them. But then yeah, he knocked out Christopher Lovejoy in 2021 for no title. He had 2 more wins for no title on the line, but he was still the quote-unquote champion in recess. And also in between then, Daniel Dubois picked up the regular title, but still for some reason the title came back to Charr, being that he was quote-unquote champion in recess, even though he didn't fight. So it was just weird. And then now finally, I mean, at least props to Pulev for just ending this thing with Charr and this belt. Because now Pulev is somewhat of a world champion now, and yeah, but more on Charr. What's next for him? It's either retirement or he's just going to continue fighting some lower level guys in Germany in these kind of lower level fights where he's just knocking some of these guys out. So yeah, that's what I see next for Manuel Charr. So overall, Kubrat Pulev defeats Manuel Charr via a pretty clear. And somewhat dominant unanimous decision victory. I scored it a shutout. I thought he was just better throughout this entire fight. The judges had it pretty wide for Pulev. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.